As you know, I am Toks Hussain and I head the Junior Lawyers Division. So I'm just going to talk to you about what we've been up to and certainly why we've been very productive and successful. And I think most would agree that the Junior Lawyers Division has been probably the most active BNLF group that there is. I just said group, but in reality, though, we are a division, and there's a slight distinction there, which I'll explain in due course. So I think the first thing to do is really just to introduce the current team that we have. So I head the Junior Lawyers Division with my colleague, Olalade, who's a barrister at Fife Paper. In reality, I head I'm in charge of really the day-to-day operations and also responsible for representing the interests of junior lawyers that we have on the executive committee and in outside fora as well. We have a separate planning group, which you can see. So we have Dara, who's with us here, Falarin, Fumbi, Izu, Moji, TJ, and also Vivian, who, as you know, serves as the General Secretary for BNLF as well. So part of the reason why we are a division as opposed to a group is also because of the way we are quite well structured. Who are we? Well, we were launched in Lagos in December 2018 and also in London in March 2018. Our remit is to support junior lawyers and to really build relationships and bridges between the junior lawyers in Nigeria and also those in Britain as well. And part of what we've done so far, we've organized lots of training activities, educational programs, workshops, mentoring opportunities, networking, among other things as well. And since the start of my tenure, which was in September 2019, we regularly produce legal updates, which are basically the summaries of the most important legal developments in Britain and Nigeria as well. And we have career updates, which includes vacancies and professional development opportunities. So that's a good way for people to be on top of what's going on in the world. And it's been very popular, enjoyed not only by members, but certainly to people in legal and non-legal professions to be able to keep on top of what's going on. So in terms of what we do within the planning committee, we meet regularly, and each person has been responsible for particular projects, and I have to say that they are very, very efficient at what they do. And because of the success of what we've done, we've been able to attract a very diverse group of people. They largely fall under the categories of students, paralegals, aspiring lawyers, junior lawyers, and of course, they are predominantly Nigerian, but we have attracted and continue to attract more diverse members. For example, Dara on my team is of Indian heritage and somehow managed to win the quiz on all things Nigeria. Make of that what you will. The next thing to bear in mind is that we are very active in social media. We set up a social media account in 2019, and since then we've amassed up to 2,000 followers. And you can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and you can follow us, our hashtag, which is hashtag BNLF JLD. So again, this just gives you an idea of the membership. So it's junior lawyers, those within the range of, less than 7 years post-qualification, and £15 student fee, and also £30 for really the practitioners. In other words, those who are not in practice. So that's the membership that we have. Now, let me talk about the challenges that we faced. Like everybody in the world, we were affected by the pandemic. And we really had to think about the best way to deal with the situation. And also the fundamental issue that we have is thinking about the best way to cater to both the Nigerian side and the British side. So in my team, for example, we have 2 people who are based in Nigeria. We felt it was very important to make sure that we catered to that side as well. particularly as most of us are based in London and elsewhere in the UK. So that was a very important challenge that we needed to address. Now, in terms of how we went about dealing with these challenges, well, we really adopted three approaches. And you'll see this is reflected in the work that we've done in this time. So we wanted to empower members, forge successful partnerships and coalitions, and also become a global voice. I'll talk about these in a bit more detail, but just to give you an indication of how we have successfully incorporated all three of these principles, we did a recent event called Pathways to Law, wherein we partnered with the British Ghanaian Lawyers Union, and also the Bar Standards Board, the Solicitors Regulation Authority. We had also lawyers from Ghana talk about opportunities within Africa and other places as well. So that shows you the three principles in action. And it was a very successful bilateral event that we pulled together. So let's think about what we were like before the pandemic. I'm just going to play for you a video.
At a time when there's much change around in the legal sector. Looking for people who have the potential to become great lawyers.
So, you have to think, how am I networking? Just attending events is not enough. You've got to follow up.
In the tribunal, kind of shadowing my supervisor for a day in the tribunal.
Applying to MSHEDs, because I came an associate, it's a bit different when you apply as an associate, you're applying for a specific role.
Okay, so you can see that we were actually out in the community, and that was really the issue now when we face a pandemic. What were we going to do in order to maintain that level of relationships? And so what we did, as you know, throughout strategy, several things. And so in terms of how we empowered members, the first thing we did was to incorporate the idea of updates, legal and career updates, which have been very helpful, as I mentioned earlier on, not just for our immediate members, but for really the wider community as well. So our members primarily have enjoyed that confidence that they know what's going on in the world, because on a weekly basis, they have the most important legal updates right there for them to follow. Same thing as well with career workshops. These have been very important. So we've had quite a few workshops which have been designed to develop certain skills. For example, how do you write a proper CV? How do you write a cover letter? How do you do well in interviews? And we've had practice sessions as well, which our members have thoroughly enjoyed. Because of the difference in culture sometimes between Nigeria and Britain, we felt that it was very important for us to develop some certain soft skills, and that was very important. For example, we collaborated with BPP Law School to deliver a seminar on professional etiquette. In other words, what works well, what would not translate as well in another jurisdiction, for example. And that was properly enjoyed by our members and others as well. And same thing as well with digital skills. We've always thought that, as lawyers, we have to be very capable digitally. And so we've had programs designed to advance our digital skills as well. Educational programs, by that I mean substantive legal topics as well. We've had so many on those issues, and it's been very well received. So, for example, you can see some of the comments that we've had online from people who've attended our programs. We've got this person here said, BNLF webinar is so informative, panelists are doing great. Logical advice and wisdom shared by Christian. Thank you for the meaningful insight for prospective barristers and solicitors. Now, on the matter of bullying and harassment, unfortunately, the statistics have shown that bullying and harassment is a very difficult reality for many people, particularly junior lawyers. And so we felt we had to do something. And so what we did was that we engaged with the Nigerian side. We had an expert to explain the realities and the help the junior lawyers could receive. And also we had our good partner from Solicitors Regulation Authority to also explain what was in place in case you were a victim of bullying or harassment within your work. And that, again, was a very empowering moment for not just members, but the wider community as well. So that's some of the ways that we've been able to empower our members. The next part of our strategy or approach was forging successful partnerships. And we're very pleased that we've formed very important relationships throughout our tenure. So with law firms, with chambers, with universities, international organizations and courts. I have to confess that due to my background as somebody who practices international crime and public international law, it was very important for me to have that part of me reflected in the way that I headed the BNLF JLD. So we've had partnerships with the African Union, with the International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice, with courts in Sierra Leone and the different parts of Africa as well, because we're very deliberate about consolidating relationships and making sure that we are not just an organization limited by geography, but really we expand our influence as best as we can. And certainly the same thing as well with entrepreneurs and NGOs. So just to give you an indication of how that partnership has looked like in practice, we have a good friend, Christian, who's recently published one of the hottest books around the legal publications, Law in 60 Seconds. And we launched a video competition which required our members to, in less than 60 seconds, explain how they would improve legal education in Britain or in Nigeria. So that's an example of how we forged that successful partnership. But here's also another project we did with Christian, just to give you more of a flavor of how we do partnerships. And I'm just going to play the video for you now.
Welcome to the Law in 60 Seconds. My name is Christian Weaver. Today we're collaborating with the British Nigeria Law Forum's Junior Lawyers Division to provide 3 tips for dealing with pupillage rejection. Tip 1. Try not to compare yourself with others. Some get pupillage their first time applying, many of us don't. We all have different journeys, and comparing yourself to others without having the full context is frankly not fair on yourself. It can also lead you to lacking confidence at a time when you need it the most. Tip 2. Give yourself space. Take time to properly process rejections. Know that all your emotions are valid: disappointment, sadness, confusion, and frustration. The pupillage application process is meant to be tough. Take a break if you need to. Actually, don't feel guilty if you spend time not doing anything law related at all. And most importantly, remember that there's more to life than a pupillage. If your dream has always been to be a barrister, it's understandable that obtaining pupillage will be ever present in the back of your mind. But be sure to live your life alongside these thoughts. Your life doesn't pause while you await that pupillage offer. Check in with loved ones, and don't neglect the other parts of you that make you you. Welcome.
Okay, so that was a very interesting animation project, which I hope you've also enjoyed.
Welcome to the
Now, and again, the third part of the strategy being a global voice. I'm very pleased to say that we've been very successful in this part of our strategy. And what we've done particularly is we wanted to focus on issues that were important to us, issues such as international justice, issues such as human rights. On the matter of human rights, you will recall, sadly, of course, that the NSARS situation occurred. And so in response to that, one of the things that we wanted to do was to show ordinary citizens what their rights were in such a situation. So we had an expert run a training for ordinary citizens, and we called it Constitutional Safeguards of the Nigerian Citizen. Also, I've particularly led this program called Human Rights and the Role of Junior Lawyers. And the idea of that was to promote the work of junior lawyers really in this country, and to show the great stuff that junior lawyers can do and actually do. And the International Justice in Africa program, something I'm very proud of, was our most attended program ever in BNLF, as far as I know. And we have a comment here from Rihanna, who works at the African Union, who says, after attending, that it's very interesting, thought-provoking webinar on international justice. And for this, we had the International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court, and the other important courts within Africa and also in The Hague as well. So the idea, again, is about empowerment, but also being part of the global conversation when it comes to the matter of justice in the world. So since our creation in September 2019, these are just some of the highlights. So as you can see, in the gala, there's been a recruitment event at Evershed Sutherland digital skills program. I've got a picture of Obama here because we launched a quiz, actually, a Christmas quiz, and we gave the participants a copy of Barack Obama's Promised Land at the time, because it was one of the most popular books. So these are some of the ways that we've managed to be engaging with our members. We've used social media quite effectively. And so here you can see that we had an Instagram takeover, and we had Olufemi White, who's a very social media popular lawyer, run a session in terms of what it's like to be a lawyer at a Magic Circle firm for a day. And so she took us through her entire day in social media, which was a very nice thing of her to do. In terms of this year, you can see that it's, despite the restrictions of the pandemic, we've managed to, try and be active. So we've had career workshops, been very masterfully done, been very beneficial for the members. We've had the harassment and bullying training. We've had social activities like a Netflix party, where we had marathons of legal movies, which was a nice bonding exercise. We've got the Human Rights and Role of Junior Lawyers program. We've got more career-related stuff. Pathways to Law, the good collaboration we had with the British Ghanaian Law Union, the Bar Standards Board, Solicitor Regulation Authority, and you can read the rest for yourselves here. If I may summarize the impact that we have as the Junior Lawyers Division, I'd say that we've managed to achieve three things. We've created employment opportunities, we've created educational opportunities, and certainly we've empowered not just our members, but the wider community. And here are some actual case studies. So this is Sarah, who got a place in Cambridge University. Sarah's a new member of BNLF, and so we were able to assist her in terms of finding scholarship opportunities and funding for her to actually take the place. And just yesterday, in fact, she sent me an update in terms of how she's doing in Cambridge. And so she's going to have a law ball actually this month. So that's a real life example of how we've helped people. And you would hear similar stories of people who, through our programs, have gotten jobs within good and reputable organizations. And in terms of empowerment, it's the same thing as well. People who have become more empowered due to the programs that we've done. So in terms of the future of BNLF, I am sadly stepping down as the head of the Junior Lawyers Division, but I am pleased to say that my successors are going to be Moji and Afalari, who are both in this call. They've done a very great job in their time with us, and you can read the biographies here. So in terms of what the next thing is, what the future is for BNLF, well, the plan really is to build on what we've done so far. And we want to, in particular, develop schemes to help our members so they can get training, contract opportunities, pupillage opportunities as well. We want to formally set up a mentoring scheme for our members, and also an ambassador scheme so that BNLF JLD is properly represented in different campuses in the UK as well as in Nigeria as well. And of course, we want to increased membership through more networking opportunities physically now that the pandemic is over. And finally, let me just say thank you to the fantastic job of the planning group members, and also to my co-head Lalade as well. So thank you very much for your time. And of course, I'm happy to answer any questions at the Q&A. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for that. May we also say a big well done to you for all the hard work that you've done whilst being at the head of the JLD. It's been a really big achievements, and very, very refreshing to see all the work. And really, during the pandemic, as you stated, lots of big achievements, events, well-attended events as well.